guess what time it is? It's cookie season. I'm Ella here, your favorite Girl Scout, and we have your oldies but goodies. Lemonades, dimmits, peanut butter sandwiches, and more. This year we have a new cookie flavor called the Explore Mug. My goal is 200 boxes, so please make that happen. You're gonna buy cookies anyway, so why not buy them from me?
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Phillies Sports History for March 10th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. We got a lot to get into, and I haven't done this in a while. But before we get into Tuesday motivation, everybody just breathe, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay, and I'll explain why. But first, it is Tuesday. Time for a little bit of Tuesday positivity / motivation. Sounds like we're going to need it today. But this is brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see how you can join and get involved today, and check out any of their podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Just search for clashingconferences.com. All right, so we're going to go back to our pal Mark Manson today, the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And I feel like I go to him a lot, but I really like some of what he says. So this one was from, I believe, a couple weeks ago, or it may have been, yes, either way. He sends out a weekly newsletter, and I really like his perspective on things. But goals are the actions you think about and don't do. Habits are the actions you do but don't think about. Better goals require a lot of effort and change little. Better habits change everything. And I really like that, because we get so focused sometimes, and I do it here on our Tuesday Motivation Positivity, talking about setting goals, manageable goals, celebrating the small wins and everything. But at the end of the day, nothing really is going to change, and you're not going to achieve your goals unless you change your habits. Thinking about it like this: goals are more destination oriented and need direction on how to get there. Habits are more process oriented. So if you change your habits, you achieve your goals. Change your habits, you change your identity. So everything we do is built upon our habits, and you need to have the good habits. It's easy to get caught up in the bad ones. Being a procrastinator, putting off going to the gym, putting off looking for a new job, putting off whatever it is, whatever project or whatever thing you want to accomplish. It's very easy to do that, and you fall into those habits. What's harder is waking up and be still dark outside, getting out of bed, going to the gym, staying up late to work on whatever the project is you want to do, taking the time to self-reflect and be better. Those are the habits that are hard to change and hard to implement. But once you do, you're on you got the roadmap then to wherever your destination or whatever your goals are going to be. Think about it more in terms of driving. Your goals are the map. You know what you want to do. You know what you want to accomplish. It's your destination. You know where you want to go. But your habits, that's the vehicle that drives you to your goals. So it's one thing to say, this is my goal. It's another thing to actually get in the car and drive to that destination. So just a little something to think about. One thing I started 2 weeks ago at this point, I was getting up 4 a.m. all the time, go to the gym, working out, doing something. And I kind of got away from that. Part of that was just things going on between work. I was talking about that, my job search, all of that stuff. Plus, the gym stopped being open 24 hours and then pushed the hours back to 6 a.m. So finally, I had enough. I tried some different things. It wasn't working. Found a new gym that was open 24 hours. A New Planet Fitness is an extra 5 minutes, so I need to be more disciplined and start that habit. But I've been going consistently now for 2 weeks. I feel better and all of those other things. So you need to change those habits. So not saying don't set goals, don't have goals. You need to set those goals, make a plan to get there. Make the plan to change your habits to achieve your goals, because goals live in the future. And I talk all the time about living in the moment. I preach it. Be present, be in the here and now. Live in the moment, create those better habits so in the future your goals are achievable. So that comes to you from Mark Manson. Goals are the actions you think about and don't do. Habits are the actions you do but don't think about. Better goals require a lot of effort and change little. Better habits change everything. So change your habits, be proactive. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's certainly not easy, but changing your habits will help you long term and achieve your goals. And that is Tuesday Motivation Positivity, brought to you by the Clash and Conferences Sports Fan Network. Hopefully, as you go throughout your weeks, you're able to get something out of that. All right. I said it. Everybody breathe. Take a deep breath. Yesterday was an interesting day for free agency. Lots of money being thrown around. But from an Eagles perspective, only guys leaving. Now, and here's what I'm going to say about this. And this is not me being a Howie Roseman truther or anything like that. But we expected Jahan Dotson to not be here. He signed with Atlanta. I love Nakobe Dean, but we expected him not to be here. So right there, those two, we expected him not to be here. It sucks because I like Nakobe. Nakobe didn't get nearly as much as I thought, but Howie believes in Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell. That's why he spent the high draft pick on Jahad Campbell. So, and I really like Trotter Jr., but that's another story for another time. Kudos, though, to Nakobe Dean for doing us one last solid on the way out and not going to Dallas. Offered similar money in Dallas as he was from Las Vegas, decided to go to Las Vegas. So kudos to him. Reed Blankenship, we expected him not to be back. He signed with the Texans. So I don't necessarily think it's time to panic. I know everybody's panicking. Oh my God, what's Howie Roseman doing? It's not time to panic because truthfully, this is the price of success. You are a successful franchise. You've been to 2 Super Bowls in the past 4 years. You've won one of them. This is the price of success. This is what happens to good teams all the time. The challenge is remaining consistently good and having this thing happen over and over and over again. So I don't think there's any surprises. We spent a lot of draft capital the past few years in the draft, and we're seeing that. Jordan Davis got the extension. That is a key piece. I would rather have him over Nakobe Dean and Reed Blankenship any day of the week. Rumor is they're working on re-signing and extending Jalen Carter. I'd rather have him than Nakobe Dean and Reed Blankenship. Nothing against Reed or Nakobe because I liked both of them as players. You can't pay everybody. So Howie is prioritizing. And I think if we stop and think about it rationally, everybody would agree I'd rather have Carter and Davis than Blankenship and Nakobe. It just is what it is. And you have other young guys you're going to have to pay. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. I don't want either one of those guys to go. So it's just the cost of being a successful franchise. Now, what Howie's been good at is replenishing the stock. And that's what he's going to have to do. But we talked about it, Kyle and I, on the Brotherly Birds breakdown. Expected this week to be quiet. Expected not a lot to happen on the Eagles front this week. And that's how it's playing out so far after day one. Does that mean Howie doesn't have big moves up his sleeve? Not at all. Howie could come out of nowhere and make a great trade. I think the one thing that did shock me from yesterday is Jalen Phillips is gone. Now, I think people are panicking over that because that was coming into the offseason. That was Howie's top priority. That's all we kept hearing, the reports and everything. But, and this is not crying over spilt milk and sour grapes and whatever cliche you want to say. Jalen Phillips got crazy money. 4 years, $120 million, $30 million a year for Jalen Phillips, who has yet to prove that he can stay healthy for an entire season. So would I have liked to have him back? Yeah, we're low on edge rushers right now. But for that kind of money, you can reinvest that money somewhere else. And I wish him the best, but $30 million for Jalen Phillips. Did the Panthers overpay? Maybe a little bit. Maybe Howie was offering $25 million a year. Whatever. And I think what we need to do, and again, I'm not being a Howie truther here, but trust what he's doing. I'm not going to say trust the process or it's Howie season or anything like that. I think you just got to trust. He knows what he's doing. And maybe next year we take a step back and replenish and then move forward for the 2027 season. I don't know. I still think there's enough talent on this team that they can be competitive. Are they the overwhelming Super Bowl favorite right now? No. But it's official free agent period didn't even start yet. So there's still plenty of time. I think you got to wait until the puzzle is complete before we pass judgment. Now, if it's July, August, even beginning of September, then we can start making some judgment on what we think this team is going to be. But I think the way yesterday played out, no surprises, no shockers. Like I think we all kind of realized and thought that Nakobe was gone. Jahan is Jahan. It is what it is. But Jahan Dotson was gone. We thought Reed Blankenship was going to be gone. And we thought Dallas Goedert was going to be gone. Now, interesting that Goddard didn't sign with anybody yet. So maybe his market isn't what everybody thought, and there's a shot he could be back. We'll see how it plays out. Jalen Phillips, we thought was going to be back, but not at $30 million. I think solid player. Not knocking him as a player, but for somebody who hasn't played a full season yet, I'm okay with it. I really, really am. I'm okay with the way it went yesterday. We just need to breathe, relax, and know that there's a lot more moves that are coming. And one of the things Howie is very, very good at is stockpiling draft picks, whether he uses them to trade into future drafts, trade for players. He's very good at stockpiling and getting those compensatory picks for losing free agencies. And because the Eagles have been so good, they've lost a lot of free agents. And again, I keep saying this, but it's the price of success. That is what the Patriots did for years. Now, the key for Howie is to make sure you have the next crop of guys coming in ready to step up. And over the past 5-6 years, he's proven that he's able to do that. He's able to turn things around in a short amount of time. So it's the cost of success. I think no big shockers except for the fact that Jalen Phillips got $30 million. And it is what it is. But it was announced yesterday, Eagles got 4 more picks for this upcoming draft for the free agents they lost last year. A 3rd rounder, 4th rounder, 5th rounder, and a 6th rounder. They have 9 picks now. Howie is going to be able to wheel and deal. So until all of this shakes out, you got to hold off on judging because we were a good team. There was, obviously there are needs, offensive line depth, edge rusher, safety, tight end, but you got a lot of good core pieces in place. So just hold off on judging, relax, let things play out because official free agents hasn't even started yet. We got that coming tomorrow. So there is time. We'll be okay. It's going to be okay. But I mentioned the Jalen Carter thing. Rumors are they're trying to re-sign him. Shout out again to Nakobe Dean for throwing us a bone on the way out, not going to Dallas. Because I think Nakobe's a good player. I 100% do. I like what the Raiders did yesterday. They did a lot. So, but thank you for not going to Dallas. And Reed, thank you for not going to Dallas as well. The other big story I heard listening at the gym is apparently the Eagles, quote unquote, are willing to lower their offer or their asking price for AJ Brown. I still don't think it's. I don't know. You're not as good of a team without AJ Brown. I am pro keeping AJ Brown and seeing what this offense can do, but we'll continue to monitor that as it goes. Update you on day 2 tomorrow, but lots of guys leaving. But again, guys we expected to leave. And truthfully, like I said, if Jalen Phillips is going to get $30 million, God bless you, my friend. Go get that bag and enjoy Carolina, who could be an up-and-coming team. We'll see how it goes. But that's really it from free agency. I know that's a lot, but give Howie time to do his things. All right, the rest of the day didn't get much better in Philly sports. Sixers were short-handed. No Maxey, no Joe, no VJ, no Paul George, and it showed. 115-101, losing to the Cavs. No one got to 20 points. Our old pal James Harden led the way for the Cavs. This team is free-falling. This team is doing their best Tom Petty impersonation. They're now 2.5 games out of the 6th spot, where they were just up a game and a half about a week or so ago. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, it might be better to tank. I don't know. This team, when all those guys are healthy and playing, they're amazing. When they're not, they're terrible. So we'll see what happens. They're back at it tonight down at the X against the Grizzlies. No Maxey. Likely no Joe. Probably no VJ. Probably more of the same. And then on the ice, it wasn't much better for the Flyers. 6-2 loss to the Rangers. After we just got so hyped and so excited. Mishkov and Sean Couturier both scored. But I think it's almost time to pull out the Tankathon tracker to see where the Sixers and Flyers are. Because the Sixers actually are only, I think, 2.5 games up even in the play-in tournament right now. So a lot can change over the next 18 to 20 games, how many ever are left. But not a good night for our winter sports teams. Flyers are back in action tomorrow against the Capitals. Some positive news, though. I mean, it seemed all doom and gloom with the Eagles, and then the Sixers and Flyers played, and it was even more doomy and gloomy. But Jesus Luzardo signed a 5-year, $130 million contract extension. Love this move. I'm from the same mindset as our old friend Ruben Amaro Jr. You can never have too much pitching, and the change of scenery last year for Jesus Luzardo was great. I think if things work out, you have Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, Andrew Painter as sort of the foundation of your future rotation. Whatever we can get out of Nola and Zach Wheeler this year will be good. So I like it. And I think as long as you have good pitching, you can stay in games and be a competitive team. So I really like this. This was kind of like a huge piece once they let Ranger Suarez walk, that it became a necessity to extend Luzardo. They kind of put their money in Jesus, literally. So kudos to him. Congrats. But it's a move and an extension I really like. Now, if these young guys can just come up and perform, maybe, just maybe, we take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward. We'll see what happens here with the Phils. The Union are in action tonight against Club America, leg 1 of their CONCACAF round of 16 matchup. They are from La Liga. Hopefully they can get things going here, as they only have 1 goal in their 3 MLS games so far. So, yikes. Hopefully they can get things rolling today. All right, yesterday's trivia question in honor of Bernard Hopkins breaking his own record to become the oldest champion in any weight class in boxing. Who did he originally beat to set that record? That would be George Foreman. Before he was the grill guy, kids, he was one hell of a heavyweight boxer, and he beat Michael Moore in 1994 when he was 45 years old, becoming the oldest champion until Bernard Hopkins beat that record. I believe 3 times Bernard beat that record. So thank you to everyone who reached out and participated in yesterday's trivia question. All right, some quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mon. Continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. I mentioned this before, but I'm working on some things with the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame about kind of being a part of a podcast for that. So once all that information comes out, I will keep you posted. And of course, go check out the Brotherly Birds breakdown. Watch that anywhere you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And we talk about it. We said it was going to be a slow start to free agency. Said these guys were probably going to go. So hopefully that will calm your nerves. And if you already watched it or listened to it, do it again and breathe. Everything's going to be okay. And I do want to take a minute here and wish my lovely wife, Abby, a very happy birthday. She puts up with all of the crap that I do for podcasts and sports and Eagles and all that other good stuff. She does it with a smile. So if you know Abby, you see her, be sure to wish Abby a very happy birthday today. Want to show off your Philly pride without saying a word? Philly Goat has you covered. From tees, hoodies, shoes, and hats, their gear screams Philly louder than an Eagles fan at the vet. Whether you're tailgating in South Philly or trying to flex down the Jersey Shore, do it in style. Hit up phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery and get 10% off your order. Philly Goat, because being Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. Go Birds! All right, March 10th. Other than being Abby's birthday, what else happened in Philly sports history on this day? First, we're going to go back to 1961, and the Philadelphia Warriors lost to the Detroit Pistons on this day, 120-103. Wilt Chamberlain had a monster day, though, 32 points, 35 rebounds, and in the process, goes over 3,000 points for the season, becoming the first player in NBA history to go over the 3,000 point mark. And to this day, Wilt still holds 4 of the top 5 single season point totals in NBA history. And that is the perfect segue into today's trivia question. Wilt went over 3,000 points 3 times in his career. Only one other player has achieved that feat. Who was it? So Wilt Chamberlain and who are the only 2 players to go over 3,000 points in an NBA season? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest? Again, we got a lot we can talk about. Give me your thoughts. Maybe I'm drinking the Howie Kool-Aid. I don't think so, but let me know what your thoughts are on Eagles free agency. And then, of course, the trivia question. Who is the only other player besides Wilt Chamberlain to go over 3,000 points in an NBA season? Let me know your thoughts on Jesus Luzardo as well. The Discord channel is one of the links in the description, so be sure to come over and talk some Philly sports there as well. All right, fast forward to 1998. Flyers and Devils skated to a 2-2 tie at the Coors State Center. Chris Tirian and Alexander Daigle scored both goals for the Flyers. It was Roger Nielsen's first game as coach of the Flyers. He took over for Wayne Cashman, who was demoted to an assistant after 61 games. Remember, the Flyers were coming off a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. Expectations were high. Cashman just did not have them performing the way that Bobby Clark wanted. Or I think it was Bobby Clark. Bobby Clark might have been in Florida then. Either way, wasn't performing the way the Flyers wanted, so they demoted him to assistant. Promoted Roger Nielsen. And for Nielsen, it was his 7th NHL team that he coached for, becoming the first NHL coach in history to coach 7 different teams. He would go on to coach his 8th team later on. I believe Mike Keenan is the only other one to achieve that feat. But Flyers Devils 2-2 tie on this day in 1998. Roger Nielsen's first game as head coach, his 7th NHL team that he was the head coach of. And then fast forward to 2001, 2 old rivals battled for the Atlantic 10 championship down at the Spectrum. I remember this game well. Temple and UMass. Both teams needed the game. They needed to win the Atlantic 10 tournament to make the NCAA tournament. Temple was coming off a thriller the night before against George Washington when Lynn Greer hit a couple free throws late to seal the deal for the Owls. It was a back and forth game before Temple finally pulled away, beating the Minutemen 76-65. Lynn Greer, Quincy Wadley each had 20 points. Kevin Ladd had 18 points and 11 rebounds. Lynn Greer was named the most outstanding player of the Atlantic 10 tournament. For the Owls, it was their 12th straight tournament appearance under John Chaney. They had made it 17 of the 19 years previous under Chaney as well. And for Coach, it was his last NCAA tournament appearance, and he made it a memorable one as the Owls went on an Elite Eight run before finally falling to Michigan State in the Elite Eight. But on this day, Temple beats UMass 76-65 in 2001 to win the Atlantic 10 championship, clinching their 12th straight NCAA tournament berth and Coach Chaney's last as head coach of the Owls. And again, he made the most of it, taking the Owls all the way to the Elite Eight. And then finally today, our Women's History Month Spotlight. Every journey starts somewhere. For these women, it started in Philly, whether it was on the playgrounds, the rec centers, the gyms, college courts, or even boardrooms. It all led to the WNBA. And today, we're going to spotlight Michelle Marciniak from Allentown Central Catholic, an LV native. She was the National Player of the Year in 1991. From there, she went to Notre Dame, transferred to Tennessee, where she became a national champion and the most outstanding player in the 1996 Women's NCAA tournament. She played a little bit in the ABL, where she became an all-star, moved on to the WNBA, where she won the Community Service Award. But she really made her mark after leaving the WNBA. She co-founded Sheiks, which is a performance bedding and sleepwear company based out of Cherry Hill. Essentially, the sleepwear and the bedding help with recovery. She used her own experiences and ways to help get better sleep, to help athletes get better and recover and train. So, Michelle Marciniak, Allentown Central Catholic, by way of Tennessee to the ABL, to the WNBA, and now to the boardroom, where she is the co-founder of Sheiks Performance Bedding and Sleepwear, based out of Cherry Hill. From Philly, in this case, the Lehigh Valley, to the WNBA, to an entrepreneurship opportunity, we celebrate the journey. And today, we celebrate you, Michelle Marciniak from Allentown Central Catholic, LV, representing today for our Women's History Month Spotlight. On this day in 2001, Temple beat UMass to win the Atlantic 10 championship, going to the tournament for the 12th straight season under John Chaney, his last, by the way. 1998, Roger Nielsen coaches his first game, a 2-2 tie with the Devils, his seventh time behind the bench, seventh different team he took, first in NHL history to do that. And Wilt Chamberlain goes over 3,000 points on this day in 1961. We'll have more on whatever Eagles free agent news comes up today. We'll update you on the Sixers and the Union tomorrow as well. Remember, as you go through your week, goals are actions you think about and don't do. Habits are the actions you do but don't think about. Better goals require a lot of effort and change little, but better habits change everything. Change your habits, achieve your goals, and be better. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for March 10th, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. Enjoy this beautiful weather. It's going to be sniffing 80 degrees today, so get out and enjoy. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.